Welcome back to a special series, a special lecture on Independence Day. I welcome you all. I'm Pooja Sharma along with my co-presenter Manisha Sharma. Welcome you to the special lecture on Independence Day, a reflection of India's environment condition. Now we've been talking about the way India has moved after independence and what is the status of environment we have reached. It is an evaluation and a reflection that where are we placed now in terms of air pollution, water pollution, land degradation, and what is our status in context of climate change as well as various disasters we are facing these days. Now we have seen that how cities have grown over the period and what are the linkages of factors which are responsible for affecting the environmental status of these cities. Fundamentally, we have seen the factors and we have seen the quality of environment in these cities which are varying from each other. Looking at the data, if we find out a correlation, a small statistical work if we do and we find out the correlation between population and temperature in these cities, then we see that the relationship between population, we take log of population and find the correlation with temperature. In Mumbai, the relationship or the correlation is significantly high. In a similar manner, we see the same values, tentatively the same values in Kolkata and Chennai also. So it reflects more or less a picture where the density of population, it has led to rise and contributing to more emissions and their human activity. We have also seen the linkages of human activity and how it has affected the climate change. If particularly related to Delhi, if we find out the correlation, we see that humidity and population are highly correlated and positively significantly correlated. Humidity and rainfall, it is but natural that they are positively correlated. At the same time, vehicles and population are also highly significantly correlated. Another important picture which is reflected is vehicles and humidity are significantly positively correlated. These correlations are giving us a fundamental message of urbanization and how unplanned urbanization has led to the problem of localized pollution and environmental status in these cities. Looking at Delhi's settlement map, one can see that how the red area, which is covered in cities, the settlement area has been increasing and it has increased to such a large extent that we hardly have space which is unsettled space, basically without settlement. Looking at another map, which is of vegetation, one can see that how less we have the areas which are dedicated to vegetation. Now, if we go deeper into the types of pollution, one can see that air pollution. For example, we take one by one. Well, let us take air pollution and go deeper. Air pollution in India is a serious issue, with a major source being biomass burning, fuel adulteration, vehicle emission, and traffic congestion. Undoubtedly, one of the most pressing environmental issues in India is air pollution. According to 2021 World Air Quality Report, India is home to 63 of the 100 most polluted cities in the world, with New Delhi named as the capital with the worst air quality in the world. The study also found out that 5 tiny particles in the air are 2.5 micrometers of smaller length. And it has been reflected that 48% of the country cities are more than 10 times higher than the 2021 WHO air quality guideline levels in India. Scientists have also linked persistent exposure of PM 2.5 to long-term health issues. Now, instances of lung cancer among the non-smokers and young Indians are also on rise, and dramatic shift in the profiles of lung cancer patients has a clear cause due to air fouled by this dirty diesel exhaust fumes, construction dust, rising industrial emissions, and crop burning, which has created heavy loads on harmful pollutants in the air. Vehicular emissions, industrial waste, smoke from cooking, the construction sector, the crop burning, etc. have been the source of this. Countries' dependence on coal, oil, and natural gas and the gas due to the rampant electrification makes it the world's the third largest polluter. Globally, air pollution is a silent killer. Air pollution levels in India are among the highest in the world, posing a threat to countries' health and economy. 1.4 billion people, that is 100% of country's population, are exposed to unhealthy levels of ambient PM 2.5. An analysis, a district-wise data of one of the studies done in Chicago, that represents that the residents of National Capital NCT of Delhi are losing around 10 years of their lives due to pollution. 43 most affected districts in India are from Indo-Gangetic Plain, which comprise of Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and West Bengal. In 2019, the Indian government came up with the National Clean Air Pollution NCAP to bring down the particulate pollution by 20-30% by 2024 in comparison to 2017 air pollutant levels. As India grows and urbanizes, its water pollution is also a major concern. It's estimated around 70% of the surface water in India is unfit for consumption. Every day, excess of 40 million liters of wastewater enters the river and other water bodies, with only tiny fraction of it which is adequately treated. A recent World Bank report suggests that such a release of pollution upstream lowers the economic growth in downstream areas, reducing GDP growth in the region by up to a third. And India has major water pollution issues. Discharge of untreated sewage is another cause of pollution of the surface and underground water. So, in the middle income countries like India, water pollution can account for the loss of about half of GDP growth. That was pointed out by World Bank. And the water pollution costs Indian government around $7.7 billion a year. And it is associated with 9% drop in agriculture revenue, as well as 16% decrease in the downstream agriculture yields. So this environmental pollution, that is water bodies and contamination, is associated with a huge cost to economy. Inevitably, freshwater biodiversity is also severely damaged. Countries' rivers and lakes often become an open sewers for residential and industrial waste, especially which comprises of wide range of toxic substances like pesticides and herbicides, oil products and heavy metals, which can kill aquatic organisms by altering the environment and making it extremely difficult for them to survive. Rapid increase in urbanization and per capita income in India has significantly led to increase in municipal solid waste generation in the country. Electronic waste is another huge issue, along with the plastic waste, which they both have contributed a large amount of total waste stream in the recent years. The use of domestic hazardous waste and biomedical waste last year shot up due to the novel coronavirus, which we all know it has generated a huge non-biodegradable and has a biomedical waste. Improper and unscientific disposal of this particular waste can be seriously hazardous for the human life and environment. As the second largest population in the world of nearly 1.38 billion people, it comes to no surprise that 277 million tons of municipal solid waste is generated, that is called as MSW, and every year 277 million tons of MSW, which is municipal solid waste, is generated. Experts have also estimated that by 2030, MSW is likely to reach 387.8 million tons and will more than double the current value by 2050. India's rapid urbanization makes the waste management extremely challenging. Currently, around 5% of the total collected waste is recycled. So the only alternative we see for the waste generation is the recycling. And as far as the recycling is concerned, only 5% of the total waste generated is recycled, 18% is composted, and remaining is dumped in the landfill sites. Microplastics are recognized as another major issue, which is of marine pollution. So moving on from air pollution to water pollution, we are moving towards the solid waste generation, and then now we are looking at the marine pollution. Microplastics, which are considered as a major source of marine pollution, untreated sewage from many cities along with rivers, industrial waste and the religious offerings, they together wrapped up in a non-degradable plastics pile pollutant, and they are flown into the rivers. From the densely populated cities. Indus, Brahmaputra and Ganges rivers are known for their highways of plastic flows, as they carry and drain most of the plastic debris in the country. Together with 10 other topmost pollutant rivers, they leak around 90% of the plastics to the sea globally. According to the studies, the microplastic concentration in Ganga more than in any other major world rivers. Soil pollution. We move on from marine pollution to soil pollution. Soil pollution is also defined as contamination of soil by human and natural activities which may cause harmful effects on living organisms. As a primary source of soil pollution are industrial waste. The disposal of industry waste is a major problem of soil. Urban waste. Urban waste comprises of both commercial and domestic waste consisting of dried sludge and sewage. Agriculture practices, another reason for soil pollution. Though we are using modern agriculture practices in order to increase our productivity, they pollute the soil to a very large extent. With the advancement of agriculture technology, huge quantities of fertilizers, pesticides and herbicides, weedicides are allied to the increase in the crop yield. Apart from this, farm waste, manures, then other activities, the soil erosion containing mostly inorganic chemicals that are reported within the soil. Biological agents, another reason for soil pollution. Soil gets a large amount of human, animal and bird excreta which constitute a major source of land pollution by biological agents. Heavy application of manures and digested sludge can cause serious damage to the plants within a few years. Now, this is what the status of soil pollution, air pollution, marine pollution, water pollution has been, and our human activities ever since independence have been engaged into unprecedented without concerning the environment and the ecosystem. It has been an unprecedented growth which is devoid of any conscious effort towards the environment and ecology. We need to learn from the mistakes. We have followed the Western models, the Western economic models, which we have followed with keenness, is highly toxic. It is built on an intensive use of energy and material. It mobilizes an enormous number of resources from the earth and variety of minerals existing within the earth in the form of oil, coal reserves, etc., and then processes them into wide variety of artificial products which are then used by human beings. Western world's environment history, it has been as in post-war World War II period. If you look at it, then the world began to see what was then an unprecedented economic boom in Europe, Japan and North America. It was only 1950s itself one could see the cities in Tokyo and London, from Tokyo to London to Los Angeles were all choking under the pollution. It was in fact this pollution that kicked off the global environment movement. It is obvious that we have failed to learn the mistakes of the West. Here comes across the way to handle this. There are policies, there are several central government and state policies which have been planned and aligned to save the environment and the ecosystem. Apart from that, one needs to philosophically and spiritually enhance the connection between the ecosystem, ecology and as well as environment and human beings. There is a philosophy of Gandhian thought which is called as the trusteeship model. There are in fact two philosophies which are fundamental and they connect to ecosystem, ecology, environment and the human beings. It was said by Mahatma Gandhi that supposing I have come by a fair amount of wealth, either by way of legacy or by means of trade and industry, I must know that all that wealth does not belong to me. What belongs to me is the right to an honorable livelihood, no better than that enjoyed by millions of others. The rest of the wealth belongs to the community and must be used for the welfare of the community. These were the words by Mahatma Gandhi. So there is so much of learning and message hidden behind these words in the form of a trusteeship model. Government acts as a trustee or a custodian of resources and intends to distribute its resources equitably to all, leaving no one behind. No one consumes or owns excess of resources. All resources which are in excess are distributed among the people who are deprived and are in need. When the human civilization views the natural resources and as curators, individuals would try to restore every part of it and for the future. Innovations will commence not to destroy the nature treasure but motivate it to secure and protect it. The elementary aspect of Gandhian notion was self-sufficiency and reliance. Self-reliance envisages that individuals are satisfied with the minimum wants and desires and consumption. So since we saw that in the framework which we discussed in the lecture, there is a connectivity between human activity, environmental disasters, health disaster, ecosystem, ecology and climate change. With that systematic diagram, we saw that the core impact, the origin is the human activity, production and consumption. If we hit that fundamentals of activity and consumption, it will be reflected on our relationship between ecosystem, ecology, environment. Such a society which we envisage in trusteeship model or communities devoid of any concentration of power competition, warfare, unrest. Such a nation will be peaceful and non-violent with equitable distribution of resources and wealth. Given such an economic setup, resources in the economy will be produced and consumed sustainably. Another fundamental, remarkable principle given by J.C. Kumarappa was economy of permanence, which is a notion that sets the trajectory for reducing ecological footprint, that is the impact of humanity on nature. An economy which is based on the economy of permanence, where the instrumental role played is for the sustainability. The ultimate truth is permanent. It is highly relevant for perceiving the sustainable and prosperous life. J.C. Kumarappa's notion explains that, his remarkable principle explains that the notion of concept of stock and flow, transient and permanent economy, depicting that human life is limited in front of the nature. Nature is permanent, but we on this earth as humans are transient. We come for a short period of time and go away. So it is based, we being transient should be only looking for a short period of time, so we should be conscious of all the activities of production and consumption. Nature is considered as permanent. Since man consumes nature for its survival and existence, the economy of permanence states that an economy that relies on permanent element of nature more than the stocks will ultimately be more sustainable. The stock and the reservoirs like materials like coal, petroleum, minerals, etc., they are exhaustible and they are constantly growing, while on the other hand, the constantly growing timber and free air, water, they are inexhaustible. So the Kumarappa asserts that everything begins somewhere and ceases to exist sometime. So the concept of permanent renewable energy sources such as water, air and sun was emphasized in the economy of permanence, and humanity exerts less pressure on the limited resources. It should rely more on the permanent resources. Now, very important fact was revealed that the means cannot be left unspecified when the ends or the goals are radical. A very fundamental, important, significant aspect of living, that means cannot be left unspecified when the ends of the goals are radical. In economics, we consider means as the resources and the inputs which are utilized to achieve our demands. Means should be ethical and they should be environmentally viable. The role of means is critical for the permanent economy that attempts to sustain the continuity of life. The means to fulfill minimum material needs must also be ethical and environmentally viable. When the profits and material well-being drive the individuals in the economy, ethical values and human well-being take a backseat. Material well-being can never be equitable as it thrives on greed and unprecedented accumulation of wealth and capital, subjugation, preponderance of wants and power, and instincts of material accumulation. Consequently, state that controls economy under such unethical and uncontrolled value system gets captivated by harmful consequences of political economy. Thus, it is almost impossible to visualize equity in distributing the wealth and resources when the political economy takes the center stage of distribution. The entire power of distribution is unjust and skewed then. It caters the needs of particular class of the society, depriving larger sections from the benefits of growth and development. Thus, we have seen that in this lecture, we overviewed the concept of climate change, and we have seen that on the eve of independence, where we are placed in the context of climate change, our cities are placed, the linkages we have explored between ecology, environment and health, and the factors which are responsible for pollution, various types of pollution have also been evaluated. Status of air pollution, water pollution, solid waste pollution, marine pollution, soil pollution has also been introduced and discussed. Various learnings from our process of growth, production and consumption, human activities, and the message from the mistakes which we have taken have also been delivered. A framework which is a Gandhian thought and J.C. Kumarappa's economy of permanence have also been given as a as a model and as a food for thought for changing the present challenges and giving a solution to all the present challenges. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. Very happy Independence Day. Thank you so much.